All right, Dan. So, do want to talk to you a little bit about this season so far for Tennessee. It's always an interesting ride in every Tennessee football season that you get yourself into, and this has been a year where, at least coming into the season, I don't think many people had super high expectations for Tennessee. Then you saw the offense play, then you saw the Georgia game, and then you start to think more could be coming this team's way in a positive way, at least. And then you look down the stretch in SEC play, and they're sitting back at 6-3. Defense has been a little bit of a liability at times this year. Let me ask you, Dan, did those first few weeks of the season change what you thought was possible for this team?
Well, what I thought, I don't think anybody knew. I really don't. Joey had potential, and you knew Josh was going to try to get something out of him, and he has. But I just think if you can go 9-3, you win these last three games, I think it's huge what Josh Heupel's been able to do. And even if you do lose at Florida, but you still beat Vandy and you win a bowl game, that's still pretty good. I was looking at Joey's stats. On first down passing, I think he's like at 72% completion on first downs. Hendon Hooker was like 71.5 in that great 22 year. So, he could beat that. I think Hendon was like 15-1 touchdown to interception ratio on first down. I think Joey maybe like 8-1 or 8-2 right now. So he's on par with what Hendon did. It's just kind of like what you said. You have a little bit of issues on the defensive side. But even that 22 team gave up some points. So I just think now compared to what that year was and even 21, it's just a different game with the portal and all that stuff. And I think Josh may try to correct that going forward with the portal this cycle. But you never know. He's got to figure out the quarterback spot for next year too. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue for him because I guess Joey's not coming back. He's not going to get that extra year. So we all know he doesn't like to play young guys. So I don't know if Brandon's going to come in here and just take it by the horns. That's why George needs to play Saturday. He needs to play in the swamp if it gets out of control. He needs to play against Vandy if that were to present itself, especially the bowl game. So, but I think he's done a really good job. I thought it would be like a 9-3 type season because I thought they would have more running mobility out of Joey compared to Nico, and that has been the case. So, yeah, I think he's done a pretty good job, and it's about on par with what I expected.
So, one thing, Jordan, I have just a quick follow-up, and then I'll let you go. True or false, Jake Merklinger, is he going to play at Tennessee next season just based on everything you've seen this year and what you want for the game against New Mexico State?
Oh, no, I wouldn't put him out there. I'd go straight to George.
Okay.
Well, going back to Joey Aguilar's stats, I was doing a little bit of math before the show, and he's averaging 304.1 yards per game. And if he plays in the bowl game and keeps up the same consistency, he'll throw for 3,953 yards, which would break Peyton Manning's single season passing record. And I haven't seen many people talk about that.
So that's for one Tennessee season?
Yeah, for one season,
okay.
Yeah. Because Peyton Manning's record is 3,819, so he would surpass it by over 100 yards. Now, I don't think he's going to catch the touchdown total because I think Peyton Manning threw like 36 that year. But, he's got potential to break the yards record, which has been standing for 28 years now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Josh plays this New Mexico State game because I don't know if it's going to be a stats game, maybe after halftime or something like that. He may just want to kill the clock and get out of there, even when George or whoever gets in after Joey. But it'll be interesting to see if Joey can get about 200, 250 in the first half.
Yeah, and one thing I am wondering just what will happen in the second half. Just is the quarterback battle for next season. I think has already begun a little bit between Merklinger and McIntyre, and I think everything we've seen so far in garbage time, again, it is garbage time, but I think it reiterates the point that Tennessee absolutely needed to get a guy in the portal, and it did with Joey. But I don't feel like Merklinger would be the guy at all for the job, just based on what we've seen. And I know a lot of that is reps with the twos, but just the pocket awareness has not been there against some of these teams. And I remember because Jordan, you and I were at the ETSU game together, and we stayed for the beginning of the second half, watched that drive from Merklinger where they scored a touchdown, but the one long completion he had to Brazel was an underthrow. Like he doesn't look like he's in control of the offense very much when he's out there. So I feel like a lot of people are in agreement that Merklinger is probably headed somewhere else after this. We thought that could be the case once McIntyre and Faison got lined up in the class, but it feels a little bit more apparent now as we get further on into the season. Did one of you have something? I'm sorry.
No, but I will say, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in the New Mexico game that Merklinger gets rolled out there first, to be honest. I mean, but I really hope that George McIntyre gets a lot of playing time because I think he's got a brighter future than Merklinger. And I was very high on Merklinger in the offseason. Like, I remember when we were talking on the show and Joey Aguilar was coming here, I was thinking Merklinger was going to be the guy. I mean, of course, that did not end up being the case. And like you said, like during the ETSU game, he didn't seem very impressive at all. And I know we missed George McIntyre playing, but he only threw one incompletion. I don't know how it looked out there with him on the field, but I mean, he seems to be a better quarterback from everything that I hear.
He just needs to get built up a little bit. You can tell he's a freshman.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that worries me about him. I mean, at the moment. So.
Well, Tyler Bray had the same issue coming in too. I remember seeing pictures of him before he ever touched the field, and he just looked like a stick there, just like a very long twig. And that's he's like the same size. He's like the same size as Tyler Bray, George McIntyre is, or at least like when he first came in, but he bulked up and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, got to get on that regimen, and Nico had to do that too when he first got here, and he's still doing it out there at UCLA. So, but one thing I do want to ask Dan in regard to the offense, I know there has been some media-generated outrage at Tennessee fans apparently wanting Josh Heupel gone. I don't know who those fans are, if they even exist. But I don't think Josh Heupel's coaching this year has been without some criticism because I think in part of the reason why people are a little bit disappointed in this season is because the game management has not been very good from this staff in critical points this season. The Georgia game was what it was. I know you had just a few seconds to work with there at the end of the game, but you look even further than that. Mississippi State and Arkansas were not well managed football games. The end of the first half at Alabama was not well managed. Tennessee's not, running to the football down 2 scores to Oklahoma in the fourth quarter. Say what you want about play calling. I don't necessarily think the play calling is the problem, but there is another discourse going on just in regard to play calling about whether or not head coaches in college football should be doing that. We've seen this thrown around with Steve Sarkisian a little bit as it's something that could maybe divert your focus away from looking at the task at hand, which is winning the football game. Do you think Josh Heupel is trying to do too much and maybe that's getting in the way of what this team could be achieving this season?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it's obviously out there. I don't have an issue with him calling plays. I don't have an issue with coaches calling plays. But like you said, you got to manage everything. It's organized chaos. So you got to get that under control. The Georgia game, I think the penalty, the false start penalty just kind of threw everything off. Mississippi State, I thought it was handled okay. But, I mean, Joey, it's really nobody's fault. Joey just held on the ball for like a split second too long. But he was out there competing. He didn't know. And that kind of threw things off. But you're right, the Alabama game was questionable. I don't know. The problem is there's a narrative out there, and it's not going away until you make it go away. And that's the issue Josh and Tennessee's dealing with right now. I don't have an issue with it, but it's definitely out there. So he's got to be able to bounce back from that. And if you win at Florida, you beat Vandy, you take care of business Saturday, nobody's even talking about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point and something that Tennessee needs to focus on after this game, because if you do beat Florida, I think you win back a lot of the fan base, just knowing what we said at the beginning of the show. Tennessee's not won down there in a long time. So if you can exercise that demon, that would be I think your fans would be very appreciative of that if you're Josh Heupel. Shifting gears to the defensive side of the ball, and like we said, it's been a problem for a lot of the season for Tennessee. It's not one thing to blame with this defense. Like, there's several different things going on. I think a little bit of it is scheming. Not much of it is scheming. Injuries, of course, are playing a big factor into this and limiting personnel out there for this group. And then there's just a lack of basic fundamentals at times. The tackling from this team has not been good for a lot of the season. In your mind, Dan, what is the biggest problem with Tennessee's defense this season?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, the injuries. You have Ricky Gibson, McCoy has not played, so that's not good. Arian Carter's kind of been banged up at the linebacking core. And I think they missed Omari Thomas big time this year. I mean, he was not just on defense, but he played on extra points, so the little things like that. And you never know, that could be affecting kicking. I just think a leader like that, you definitely miss that. But, yeah, I mean, you're playing without your two cornerbacks, so that's not good. I mean, just think about that. You're out Omari Thomas graduation. Your two cornerbacks are hurt. Your quarterback bails on you a day before the orange and white game, and Josh Heupel could still pull off a 10-win season. And I don't know if Tennessee's had a 10-win season since, 06, 07 or 04, 03, something like that. Back-to-back 10-win years, and he has a chance to do it. So my biggest question mark is not necessarily defensive play calling. It's not a shot at Josh, but I think on offense, I mean, at Mississippi State, he kind of went back to his old air raid with some of the passing crossing routes. And he did that 21 at Florida on a fourth down play. We haven't seen that since Mississippi State. He ran it 3 times, the mesh plays. Ran it back-to-back. He even got a first down off the fourth down. And I thought, okay, well, we're going to start seeing this from him with the new personnel groupings, all that stuff. And we haven't seen it. That's what I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's just like, can we please see that again? So, and I don't know. He played with those mesh concepts when he was quarterback for Leach at Oklahoma. Obviously, Leach at Mississippi State. I don't know if he did it just because he was at Mississippi State to honor the guy, but it's just so weird how it hasn't been a factor in this offense since.
Yeah, it's real strange how they've not been able to do that. But yeah, you're right about the defensive injuries. I think that's been a big problem for Tennessee this year. And Omari Thomas is an important point as well, just because you had for one, he was a leader on that team too. Having had several classes with the guy at UT, I can tell you he's a guy that you want to be the face of your team outside of it, just in media settings and around the conference too. So, but the depth of the defensive tackle has been problematic this year for a lot of the year, and David Hobbs going down early in the season was no help there. So, defensive tackle injuries and just lack of depth there and experience has been a problem for this team. There's another situation going on in the secondary that I think has caused some problems this year. I asked you if Jake Merklinger would be a Vol in 3 weeks. I think you know what's coming, Dan. Is Boo Carter a Vol in 3 weeks?
Probably not. I mean, there's too much. I mean, I guess some people call it drama, whatever, but I really wanted to see him on offense this year.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about Legend Bay. I mean, he would have been perfect for some of those type plays, but obviously he's probably not in good grace with Heupel and the staff with everything that's gone on. So, no, I'd be surprised if he was still with Tennessee after this.
Yeah.
And didn't he like ask for that role on offense like a month or two before like all of that stuff started going down too? I mean, I wonder if they took that away from him as like a punishment of sorts. And then I think during the Kentucky game, he didn't get a single defensive snap either. So I don't know what that's about.
He definitely got a snap in that game. I think
He
it was
did.
the Oklahoma game where he didn't get the snaps because
It was Oklahoma.
The Kentucky game was the one where he just got burnt by that one guy and just didn't even try to make an effort on the play where he very easily could have tackled the guy. And the problem in all this, guys, is he's been a part of the team all year, and his one kind of redeeming quality has been his punt returning every now and again, but we haven't seen it used that much, which I think is a real problem for this team. They're not being helped out by him there. He's not playing defensive snaps. I mean, he didn't get into the third defensive possession of the game against Syracuse in the opener. So, and we say it again and again, it's really sad, but he's gone from a guy that could have had an all SEC caliber season to pretty much being an afterthought in this program and looking like a surefire bet to transfer out, all because of a few extra dollars, is what it feels like right now.
And it says a lot too, considering, I mean, Ricky Gibson and McCoy being out, you would think that he would have more of a role on defense this year. And then like going back to that Syracuse game, did he even have a single punt return in that game? Cause I'm pretty sure they had Morris back there instead of him.
No, they started him in the ETSU game, but they wanted to get him involved in punt returning again because they didn't think Morris and Staley were doing a good enough job. Boo's also muffed punts this year, and he's not been a dangerous return man outside of that ETSU game. So, Dan, one more thing I do want to ask you on the note of special teams. We discussed this last week just as a little thought during the bye week. I want to get your opinion on it. This group has not negatively impacted the game too much this year. I know there have been some muffs here and there, and then of course you got the missed field goals by Gilbert every now and again in some inopportune places. But do you think the lack of involvement positively from this group is a bit of a problem, something that you'd like to see them improve upon next season, get more involved in the game with next season?
Sure, and you never know. I mean, I think they miss Eckler.
I agree.
So I don't know if Josh is going to change up his staff or not. He could look at that, but you're right. They definitely need to focus on that going through spring practices and clean up special teams altogether, especially the punts and the kick returns, because they do need to be more involved with that. And if you don't have a Boo Carter, you obviously need to pinpoint someone that can be in there and be elusive and all those things. But yeah, I think they're definitely missing Eckler, and I don't know. Josh has had a lot thrown at him with cornerback injuries and Nico leaving, Eckler leaving. I mean, it's just crazy how he still can win 10 games this year with the bowl win and take care of business. But he's definitely had a lot to deal with this offseason.